What's good? Hello everyone. Hope you could make it today. It's kind of a late stream. I usually do this on Fridays, but yeah, I was kind of tired, so we're gonna have a lovely late chill stream. Whoa, Jesus Christ. Hello everyone. Is that how I sound? Hope you could make okay. At least we know the audio is working. Yeah. Awesome. We're gonna hop straight into this. This is chapter 1173, A Generation of Warriors. And yeah, there's quite a bit to talk about this time. So I'm gonna breeze past the cover story. We've got this lovely lure of Usopp putting honey on his nose. Chopper is tempted by the honey because it's sweet, of course. And it looks like we've got Hercules in the background. Or could it be a Tontato? It could just be a stag beetle that he's trying to catch. Rhinoceros beetle, I should say. We've got the usual conceit of all text in the One Piece universe being Romanji. So we see Kabuto over here. Yeah, I love these things, like these cover stories. They're always chill and creative, and it just like I think Oda likes doing them because he grew up on like classic picture books and stuff like that. And Usopp's nose, to be fair, does look like one of those feeders you see. Hey man, how are you doing? Thanks for checking in, Aisha. I'm good, I'm good. Um, I'm lingering too long on Usopp's toes here. Oda doesn't normally draw feet, does he? I can't think of too much to say here, but yeah, I'm doing good. I am doing really good. It's nice to have actually stream on Wednesday and not stream past midnight. So I should have a bit more energy than I usually do. And this chapter promises like some really cool developments for one of my favorite Straw Hats. So I'm very eager to get to that point so I can talk to death about him. But yeah, in the meantime, I don't think Oda did anything too crazy with this cover story, so I'm gonna probably continue past it. I gotta love the like potion jar honey pot. It's like a Zelda game. Oda has actually given a shout out to a TikToker here. Do I still have their TikTok open? It must be on my It must be on my thingamabob on my laptop that I had it open. But yeah, it's weird to see Oda do a shout out for a TikTok, is it not? I have deleted TikTok, so I can only access it through the web now. Let's see if I can quickly bring up this TikTok though. Hopefully this doesn't get me struck by whoever owns this TikTok. Yeah, Oda basically says, I'm sure all of you are subscribed to this channel like I am. It's been super. Oh god, can I do a capture on screen? Can I convince you all I'm a real person or not? Okay, I'm a real person. This is not AI controlled. But yeah, apparently this channel is super creative. Okay, it's also very Japanese. I don't know how many people would be able to appreciate it from the Western fan base, but I mean, they seem to just do skits with their cartoon characters, so I'm not surprised Oda gets a kick out of this, especially with the character design, being this like middle-aged furry in like friggin' pants like Frankie. Oh, is this Detective Conan? That's pretty dang cool. One Piece has actually had a cover with Detective Conan before. Oh, wait, Conan's like looking for the Wi-Fi. That's so good. I need to show that to my friend. That's awesome. Um, and Ron is Ron is one of the waitresses. That's so funny. Oh wait, would you call them a waitress? Whatever. That's pretty fun. Conan has actually had a cover with One Piece before. Yeah, it had a joint cover that ran on both Weekly Shonen Sunday and Shonen Jump, which is a cool cross magazine promotion, I guess. Like Zoro got to be on Sunday, and I don't know what this character's name is, but he got to be on Jump, which is yeah, it's weird. But it's not that weird when you consider that Shueisha owns both of them, so there's no real competition in the manga industry. Anyway, I am getting so sidetracked. I should have taken my ADHD meds before this. So let's hop right into it. Kill Jarul. The demonic army advances. So something which I failed to really clock before was all of these like tridents which they're holding, all of these pitchforks. Um, I they weren't holding these kinds of weapons before. Broggy's axe is different too, and so is Dory's sword. So it seems that the Domi Reversely doesn't just transform the person, but also, I mean, I know it gave them capes and stuff, but it seems to also transform their weaponry, which is kind of interesting. Um, I have no idea how it works because like they are not under Imu's direct control the way Gunko is. We see later in the chapter they're more like influenced to be their evil selves, which is quite similar to what happened to Harold, but Harold I don't think was Domi reverse side exactly because it had more to do with the abyss mark on it. So you see, Emu seems to have like three modes of control, like direct possession, the Domi reverse side, and whatever goes on with the abyss marks. And I don't know how they all relate to each other and whether they can all be dispelled the same way. But it's interesting because they seem to have slightly different effects. Like here we see that they seem to have their core personality, but like turned up to 11, like remove inhibitions, like black suit Spider-Man kind of thing, where they're all like the just the douchiness of their personas come to life. So I actually am wondering like how Oda has approached this and whether we'll ever get like exposition about okay, Emu can control like this, and like that, and they function totally differently. Um. Anywho, Dory, Brogy, it's unthinkable to see you like this. So, what's this plan of yours, Rono and Zora? First things first. Is it okay if I cut those guys down? Why did I expect any different? Zora mentions a plan. Zora mentions a plan, and I think it's actually going to be something smart. But like, it's just cutting them down with more steps, right? Like, did anyone expect anything different from Zoro? Or was I being naive to think that he had a unique idea here? I mean, maybe I'm judging too soon because I do, like, we'll see what happens, but I don't know how intentional that was on Zoro's part. It is, but we're up against the entire giant warrior crew. Saving Elder Jarul is our priority, but these warriors have all earned our respect. Try to spare their pride at the very least. Huh? Harden? Stanston? And they're like, they're panicked because they've been spotted. And we've got these two giants. I actually don't know their names. Yeah, Zara never changes. Um, I don't know who these two were. I'm not sure if I meant to, but they kind of mock Harden's dream here. They're like, "Hey, did you finish your quest to unite all the giants of the world?" Yeah, right. By now they have to know that's never gonna happen. Zoog yeah 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 yeah, and this pisses off Harden and Stanson. So they tell Rono to like forget their reservations, just go for it. And Zoro is very weird here. He says, "Okay, brothers," which he does. I double checked this. So like he refers to them a lot more like closer than Zoro usually does. This is the kind of dialogue I would expect from Frankie. But no, we get it from Zoro, which is it's weird. It's very weird. But yeah, he leaps off Harden's shoulders, and Harden and Stanson like react like he's a genius. I see. You won't get trapped between them if you approach from above. Dig ya 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 ya. Clever move. How is that like what? Okay, he has to fall eventually, right? He'll fall between them. I mean, I like how they're taking into account the game mechanics of Othello, that he shouldn't be surrounded. But, eventually, like, even if he knocks them all down, he'll fall in between them, right? So I'm not sure what the strat is, but Harden and Stanson decide to circle round while Zoro goes above. Hey, Mighty, how you doing? Was the line necessary? I don't know. I have no, I have no idea. But Zoro is playing hopscotch on the giants' heads, and they're like above us, the puny human, and we get three sword style secret technique, crossing of the six paths, which is a Buddhist reference I know, thanks to my good old friend Naruto. Which is it's basically his equivalent of the Super Saiyan forms. His six path sage mode. Which, by the way, there was like a cover where like someone was meant to have six arms in Naruto, but they ended up having like seven or eight, and I think Kishi had to redraw it. But yeah, we had the I was familiar with this reference just because of Naruto. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's just because there's what, six giants here, and that's why he says it. Although wait, two, four, five. There's only five giants in the circle, Zoro. What's going on here? I suppose there's a sixth giant here, a bit lower down. But yeah, I mean, I don't actually know if this reference has more applicability here other than just take out six of them at the same time. But yeah, I mean, they're like, that's Roanoa for you. And then he leaps to Dory and Brogy, who are like, Roanoa! Which, do they ever call him that? I want to actually go back, because I don't know how often they actually talk to Zoro. But I would imagine Dory and Brogy to be the kind of person who would talk about someone in the, like, with their given name. But Zoro cries out Dory, Brogy, and he does his like he did this in Dressrosa, he like launches with his swords. And they're like unbelievable, and they seem to like it seems to like deflect their swords so that they hit each other. But I'm not sure if that was intentional or if they semi snapped at Dory and Brogy in a way, or I genuinely don't know what's happened here. If it looks like Zoro deflected the sword and the axe so that they would hit the opposite person. But I genuinely couldn't be sure because Zoro is confused by this. He's like, "Huh?" And Brogy is like, "Dory, Brogy," and everyone's like, "Chiefs." So like, I I assume like the way Emu's instructions work are like you do whatever you can as long as you're trying to accomplish the overall goal. But like they did it in a way that risked themselves so that they knew it would be likely for them to get hit and take themselves out. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know. I like this part of the like Everything about the first half of the chapter confuses me. Like Zoro's plan, why it's so brilliant, the way Zoro is talking, and the resolution of Dory and Broggy hitting each other. I like because Zoro's confused by it, so it can't be intentional. Anyway, if anyone has any ideas, let me know because I yeah, I have no clue. But yeah, we go to the goat Brook, and he is heave hoeing across, slithering across the branch of branch 8, and we see a bunch of demons in the background, dream demons in the background, and I think it's pretty funny. Viz actually said that Brook ran off somewhere when he clearly, slithered he did the worm all the way across. But yeah, Brook is panting, even though he has no lungs. And he cries out for Princess Shuri. I'm curious what Viz is gonna choose because they could go with a bunch of stuff like Sherry or Shirley or whatever, Shuli. But I think Shuri is probably the best romanization. You there? Are you Princess Shuri? And we see Imu Gonko look over, and Brooke is like, "I can't see how you could possibly be her. I'm certain it's impossible, but it's hard to deny that you're her spitting image. So I have to make sure. Even if you aren't the princess, surely you must be of her blood. If the princess were alive today, she would be nearing 80 by now. Of course, she wouldn't recognize me, given how much I've changed. And yet, those features, the blue hair, the mismatched eye color, and a connection to the Holy Land. Plus, you're fond of my music too, aren't you? Every single detail is a perfect match. Princess Shuri! I had hoped I'd go the rest of my life without having to think about you again. I owed everything to the man whose life you took, my patricidal princess." And these words seem to hit deep for Gonko. Um, Brooke having a beef with her is surprising because I thought for sure it would be like a mentor mentee, kind of relationship where Brooke was very fond of her. And I don't think this is actually anger, but more like bitterness and hurt on Brooke's part. Because we know that Brooke knew her from when she was very little from that earlier flashback. So presumably when Brooke was, here's what I think happened. Brooke was recruited into his battle convoy by the king of the kingdom which Princess Shuri resided over. And Brooke's battle convoy was trained under the king and whatever, and they were like bodyguards or something. And so Brooke spent a lot of time bodyguarding the princess, and naturally that involved entertaining her. So that's why he learned to play music and got really good at it. And she really enjoyed that. But something happened, and it seems like the princess killed the king. Brooke obviously got his wounds somehow and ended up fleeing and becoming a Rumbar pirate. Um, he assumes that Shuri must be dead, or is unlikely to be alive, and would be probably 80 if she was. So maybe he witnessed something like, that made him believe that Shuri would die. But I've always thought that Brooke's battle convoy was charged with protecting the revive fruit, and Brooke would be forced to eat it before going on the run as a Rumbar pirate, and then the Rumbar pirates were eventually tracked down. The connection to the Holy Land is interesting. It makes me think that her father was in direct dealings with the Holy Land at the time, to some degree. Whether that's like, trying to negotiate membership like Harold, or already being a membership, I don't know. But what's clear is that Brooke regards her as a father killer. But I don't know if this is like a super well known fact like Loki, or if it's just something which Brooke alone witnessed and he's coining the term himself. Princess Shuri was never mentioned, right? Yeah, no, this is the first time Princess Shuri has ever been mentioned. The clone piece. I don't think this is more clone piece. I think I think Emu, because she seems to have the memories. So I think this is genuinely Princess Shuri, but Emu has suspended her aging. We know that Emu can suspend aging because we see it for Saturn, and as soon as Emu withdraws his power from Saturn, because I don't think Emu actually kills Saturn. I don't think he wills Saturn to die. I think he just withdraws his contract from Saturn, which causes him to age up to where he would be normally, which is dust. It's like Indiana Jones, right? Where the knight just suddenly becomes dust because he's finally allowed to fully age. I think Gunko is in a similar boat. The Gunko's I don't know why of all the Holy Knights, but Gunko seems to be unique compared to Garling, because Garling still aged, right? And presumably Shamrock still ages. All Summers does age, but it's a bit less noticeable. But it seems like Gunko's age has been frozen, and Gunko alone seems to have, be the one who Emu can possess, or maybe he can possess any. No, I don't think he can possess any God's Knight because he didn't possess Harold in the same way, where he's looking through his eyes. He had no idea what killed Harold. He was like, "What could possibly be lurking on Elbath?" Um, he influenced Harold to like embrace his like more savage nature. The part of him was like, "Whose god is that?" The part of him that had a superiority complex deep down in his psyche. The one that he's been burying since he met Ida. So I think like there's the negative influence possession which he did for Harold, but for Gunko, he seems to do what he did with Saturn, where he just took over their bodies. So Gunko is unique. Gunko, I think we have to assume operates like the Yonko, where her aging is completely frozen. But yeah, these words get through to her, and she's like, "Are thy memories?" Well, Emu's like, "Are thy memories beginning to return?" And she awakens and says, "Brooke, you have to run." I was interested it wasn't Brooke Senpai or Brooke Sensei or Brooke San. It was just Brooke. Kind of interesting, anyway. Her clothes actually form the spiral, so I am actually now convinced that her outfit is actually meant to like the bandages are meant to go all the way up her legs, but we've just never seen her not use arrows. So I think once all of her arrows are withdrawn, she'll actually look like she's wearing pretty normal trousers. But for now, Oda gets to draw what he likes to draw. I think that's the point of One Piece for him. He draws what he likes to draw. So what can you say? What can you say? um, Hopefully, Gunko's age was not suspended when she was like 15 and she was at least 18, 19, 20. But yeah, I mean, I did see someone meme and joke that like because she has no memories, maybe Emu makes her dressed like this, which is super creepy. Um, I'd like to think that no, this is her genuine fashion, and she wears her hat like this and whatever, because I think it's a cool look. But yeah, even the bandages go across her face, so I assume like the more and more arrows she uses, the less. It's like Bayonetta, right? Where Bayonetta's hair covers her, and the more she uses, like the more exposed she is, the more power she uses. I think it's the same thing. She's got the Bayonetta thing going on. Um. So yeah, Brooke is confused, but the all of the bandages are all of the arrows are laxing a bit. They've all gone loose. So the kids are like, "Look, it's wiggling," and Brooke's like, "I'm free." And Emu's like, "Gunko, thou attempts to move of thy own will." Brooke, I'm, and then the control reasserts itself, and Brooke's leg gets caught again. "Why did you tell me to run? I came to settle this matter. Now who are you?" And we've got the Emu eyes, and Emu is like, "Shut thy mouth! Who art thou to Gunko?" And attacking with the trident straight to that is a trident, right? Where is that on the? upper pages. Yeah, this big trident. To Brooke's I guess Brooke is like Brooke. Part of Brooke's Elbaf costume is a shield, which is kind of interesting because he's a fencer, right? He's adapted pretty well his fighting style to have. I suppose as a fencer you would always keep the other hand free anyway, but he's not used to having a shield. But he puts it to great use, and Emu Gunko like tries to stab through it. And we seem to get Conqueror's Haki Lightning coming off this, which is hilarious. Because my boy Brick, man, he's like, he's like, his CV is stacked. He went up against Emu and Big Mom and survives. Here you can say that Emu is just trying to interrogate Brooke here, so she's not going all out on this strike. But you know, a block alone for a character like Brooke says like it's worth so much, you know, because Brooke never gets anything, literally never gets a thing. So I'm happy for him. I hope that like he won't be completely jobbed out and he'll still have some influence of Gunko. There's also a possibility that Gunko is pulling, like, is still resisting to a degree. So like Brooke isn't as hurt. But there's also another possibility that Emu's power is actually limited by his vessel. So, like, with Saturn, he could exercise a lot more of his Haki through that vessel than he can through Gunko. I think that's very possible as well. Um, but yeah, Branch 8, Usopp's group. Woo, we're finally free. My mind powers did the trick. The arrows came loose for a moment. What happened? I love how Jinbei is always down to business. I don't know who this is, but it's not Robin. Like, I have no idea who this is, but it's definitely not Robin. Is there a way I can zoom in on this? I'm just gonna remove the tags. Who is this? This is not Robin. The eye shape of the nose is completely different. Even from enlarged, this is worse than most of the anime like distance shots, you know? This is amazing. Um yeah, so Lobin here is got branches over her, so sorry, the thorns over her because she was contained by Summers instead of by Gunko, so she is still restrained. So Nami's trying to fiddle with that, and Robin's like, "Forget that. We gotta save the children." And Jinbei said, "I saw Ange slip away earlier, but I doubt she'll make it in time. The West Village is way too far." This is something which the anime will show as it's happening, like they're all still tied up and she runs by. Because it feels like Oda forgot to put a scene here, and Jinbei is filling us in. It's very clunky when this happens. Anyway, we get the Nami Swan and Sanji-kun, but we cut away before we see it. So presumably Sanji's gonna show up at the 11th hour somewhere else on Nami's orders. So that's why we get a bit of a surprise. But also maybe Oda didn't want to draw Sanji holding Kaban and Chopper again because that's a very awkward drawing. Branch 8 near West Village. Yeah, keep going, you brats. The finish line is just over there. You're one of the demons Elder Ja Rule mentioned, aren't you? We'll make you pay for this. Elbaf is real strong, you'll see. Moron, we know all about how strong the giants are. That's why we're after you. You're Gaban's kid, right? I'd shut up and unwrap these thorns if I were you. Yeah, let us go. I dare you to face us like a warrior. Gahaha, you're a real hoot, but it's way too late for that. Look, I can already see the harbor. Say goodbye to your homeland. This is the last time you'll ever see it. And the kids are like, what? No way, this can't be happening. I want to see my parents, blah, blah, blah. And so, during this, Summers dials up Emu on evil Skype. Whoa, I think that was my USB unplugging. Hello, Great One. Pullingham and I are about to complete our task. I'm dying to go home already, but do you have any more bidding for us to attend to first? I love how, like, worst employee ever Summers is, where he's like, yeah, I just want to go home. I'm not here for fun. It's hilarious. But yeah, Colon, Ylva, Olaf. How did they get here? Weren't the dream demons meant to stop them? And we get to see Ripley and Oimo and everyone just charging up. And the kids are like, watch out! It's Nika, the god of destruction! And everyone's telling their parents to run. But they're like, from this Nika, don't be silly. You're underestimating us. We come from a generation of warriors. Which, okay, definitely confirms that these dream demons are nowhere near as strong as the originals. They're probably limited by scope of the imagination of who's dreaming them. So maybe if someone has a more realistic dream, like let's say Luffy's nightmare was an evil Akainu or something killing Ace, and he was put to sleep, and I reckon that Akainu would probably be as strong, if not stronger, than the real one. Because Luffy's got a better like scope and understanding of the power involved. Whereas these kids don't know how strong Nika is, you know? Although they imagine him destroying the world, so maybe the child's imagination would be more exaggerated. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the dream demons are just limited by what they are and can only be so strong. I don't know. I'm torn. It could be either. I mean, Luffy and Loki are taking a while fighting the Drogar. I'll just say that much. Um, yeah, it could be either. It could be either for sure. By the way, I don't think Luffy's nightmare would be Akainu. I'm just put that as an example. Anyway, the kids are shocked by how strong their parents are, and we get a glare from Nika, who's stab, stab, stab the branch afterwards, and we get to see the new giant pirates being like, "Oh, there they are, but we won't make it in time, even if we sprint." Two generals, and we get a nice moment from Rodo where he wants to join in and save his little brother. So three generals, and we get Gokoku sovereignty, which I saw some people get confused. They thought Gokoku like five, but no, it's like Koku is like the country, and like Go like I think what they change each time. Ha Go whatever is like, from what I understand, the way they're describing the country, and sovereignty is just an added word which Viz adds, and TCB is following suit, so people recognize what it is. Because just having Koku, they might not, But I like sovereignty as a word because it makes you think nation. But yeah, so like Gokoku is like roaring nation, Hakoku is like warrior nation. I forgot what Big Mom's one is. It might be Hakoku as well. But anyway, Nika flips over and flies towards Summers, who's like, "Hey, back off before you crush me!" Schmack, and he smacks them into the ship, which unfortunately seems to be the only ship in the area. So Summers is like, "The ship! Oh shit!" And the chapter ends. One of the rare swears from TCB here, but I think it's deserved. The game takes an unexpected turn. What a clown! What a this guy. This guy is so bad at his job. He reveals to Rayleigh and Yaban and Roger how to defeat God's Knights, because he keeps spawning in and getting jobbed out each time they try to take back Baby Shanks. Not only is he that bad, but like he messed up this job alone, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this job's in the bag." Single-handedly. This is like, maybe he's not used to his own strength, he's not used to dealing with giants. but single-handedly, he's messed up this plan. Like, this is worse than any failure Saturn ever did. That's for sure. This is worse than anyone. I'm not disappointed in the God's Knights though. I think well, I think Gunko's powers are awesome, but she's probably not going to be a God's Knight for much longer. Although she'll still have the mark, so that might be a bit tricky in future arcs. But I think they'll be able to exercise Emu's haki from her the same way the knot on Emeth was able to be exercised. Exercised all of the Gorosei who spawned in. So I think they'll be able to exercise her. I think Summers is done after this arc because he's failed Emu way too hard, and we've seen a lot of him, and he's definitely no longer that threatening. I hope Cullingham survives and we get to see more of the Dream Demon gimmick in future arcs. Like, even in the final arc in the series, if we've got a bunch of dream bodies that we have to contend with, in addition to all the Gods Knights and the Marines and, the Seraphim and Emu, Gorosei, etc., I think that evens out the fight a lot more to have these dream demons. But maybe Oda just wants to keep it as this arc's gimmick, so maybe Cullingham never comes back either. But I'm not disappointed in the Gods Knights as a whole, but I do think Summers is bringing them down. So I wouldn't mind if this is his last arc appearance, and Luffy and Loki absolutely destroy him. Although I think it's very likely that Sanji will be the one showing up for him, given the Nami scene cutoff. Regarding Brook and Gunko, I think that they'll continue to have their Tokno Jutsu until Luffy and Loki show up. I think that just makes sense. And they'll deal with him. I think Luffy becoming the real Nika in front of everyone will be a big moment. I don't know if we'll get the Brook flashback next chapter. I kind of doubt it. I think we're going to string it along until Gunko has finally been exercised completely. But we might get a couple more hints when Luffy shows up. Like, he'll see how important it is to Brook. The Zoro Dory Brogy plan, I expect to have some clarification next chapter. I expect Luffy and Loki to show up at the end of next chapter, leading into a break week. I expect Jinbei and Nami to put out the fire on the library once they know the kids are safe. What else is going on here? Quillingham needs to show up, so I expect Quillingham to, like, ambush someone. Maybe Quillingham actually is the one Sanji goes after. I'm not sure. Because then would Zoro go and job out Summers? I mean, I guess if Zoro is Rayleigh too, he would go towards Summers and beat up the person who his prototype beat up. Maybe that makes more sense. I do kind of hope Usopp gets something. I kind of wish Usopp was with Ja Rule and gave him a pep talk about Elbaf's pride, leading into Ja Rule's speech to restore Elbaf's pride. I think that would have been better usage of Usopp. But overall, I think everyone's getting a good amount to do. The only group we haven't really seen in a while is Frankie. So I'm curious to see what his role will be. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, this arc is not insane. It's not like that one thing we had with Shanks a few chapters ago, which was the funniest thing. Um, but it is like I don't have any major complaints either. I think everything that happened here is entertaining to some extent. Summers seems like a fool, but I can see how it happens. It's nice to see all of these Elbaf characters shine. We get to see the new giant pirates have a moment to shine. We get to see the parents of Elbaf get a moment to shine. We're planting the seeds for the children to have a balance between the peace and the pride aspects. Um, the other Straw Hats, these Straw Hats, I think they've got to have a little more to do. Um, Brooke is probably the most interesting storyline we've got going. I really want to see. I want to see his flashback because I've wanted this flashback since Whole Cake Island. I always thought that it was like Sanji's like ancestors who plotted to take the revived fruit and forced Brooke into hiding. But and I was really disappointed for years that we never got expansion for Brooke because the first time we saw him he was 38, you know. So there's a lot of formative experiences, like how he got his scar and learned swordsmanship and ate the revived fruit that we never saw before he became a pirate. So I'm glad we're getting some of the like hints now. Better late than never, you know. Especially if it ties in with someone so important. But what I'm questioning more is that the fact that he's got an anger and bitterness regarding Gunko. Like this is a past he never wanted to have back. It's interesting, and it makes me question because like some characters in the series, I feel like their entire lives are tied too close to the Straw Hats. Like Robin's only reason for living was because of the Straw Hats. So, and the Straw Hats, I assume, are gonna disband at some form at the end of the series. Like we might not see it, but like I assume that they'll all go on to like pursue their own dreams, or they're going to go off. Like they'll say that. And for some of the Straw Hats, we have no idea what they would do if the Straw Hats ever disbanded, like Robin. So we've got introduced to Soul again, and Robin can now retire on Elbaf and run this library with Soul, and I think that's a good ending for her character, to be honest. She like restores Ohara. Um I think that would be a good way for her to go if the Straw Hats ever do disband. And for Brooke was very similar. I hadn't like if the Straw Hats ever disbanded after he's already reunited with Laboon, I mean, he's not just going to hang out with Laboon for the rest of his life, so I thought that his spirit would just, finally its unresolved business resolved, he moves on to the next world. But now he seems to have. I was going to say, like, I felt like he has a family now, Like, because he'll, like, Gonko will be there, presumably free of Emu's command, and, like, even though they seem to be at odds because of something she seemed to have done, we don't know the details of that because Emu, like Gunko, did try and warn and help Brooke here when she was free of mind control. So maybe what Gunko did was similar to Harold, where she was possessed, or it was an accident, or a misunderstanding. So I don't doubt that whatever bitter feelings Brooke has, they'll eventually be resolved. So maybe Brooke's endgame is to spend his retirement with Gunko, because Gonko is not going to be this age at the end. I don't think. I think if Emu leaves her, it will be similar to the Gorosei. It will be like Saint Sachin, where she'll age up to 80. So maybe Brooke, cares for her or something. That might be a nice ending for him. Or maybe they both die together, go and enjoy the afterlife together. I don't know. But Brooks always been a Straw Hat where I've not seen too much of a aftermath for his story. Most other Straw Hats, you can see where they go at the end. Usopp goes back to Kaya and tells her stories which are even more outlandish than his previous lies. Nami starts drawing her map to the world. And, with the world government down, there'll be more access to information. Stuff like that. Sanji will open a restaurant on the Old Blue now. Zoro will go back to Wano and finally visit Ryuma's grave, etc. But for Brooke and Robin, there was nothing. Now Robin definitely has something, and I think maybe by introducing a new character, Brooke has something for the end game. But even if that's not the case, this fleshes out his character nicely, and I hope he gets a few more things to do, help out in a way. Dispel from Emu. I hope that he gets a flashback feature, but I hope it's not rushed and it's not too soon. I want it to be at least a couple of chapters, and I hope it's in like 5 to 10 chapters and not next chapter. Um, Anything else I want to mention? That's the Brook stuff, and I already talked to death about the Dory Broggy stuff. So yeah, that's it for the chapter. I think. Does anyone have any feelings or ratings how they would score this? Because I'm feeling a strong 8 out of 10. I think this is a really fun chapter. It promises a lot of good stuff for Brook's character. Brook's my third favorite Straw Hat behind Jinbei and Luffy. So I'm, you know, anything that gets characters like Brook or Frankie something to do, I am over the moon. Um, I think the gag with Summers works well, but it's devalued him as a villain, so I think he's got to get jobbed out this arc. And it's good to see Elbaf getting back on track. So overall, I'm giving this a solid 8 out of 10. If any of you guys have any thoughts, let me know in the comments or here. If you enjoyed the stream, I'd appreciate a like, or if you can share it, that would be good. We're going to go back to more long form, properly edited content soon. But it's always fun to react to the chapters each week and just make sure that we're like keeping up as a community and just it's just fun to chill and talk One Piece, And my goodness, my voice is getting raw, so I think I'm gonna stop it here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I guess an 8 since you asked. I like how you caught yourself from saying Hachi. um, I can see the weebness emanating. But yeah, definitely more chill chapters the last couple of times. I'm hoping for a crazy one, so because like we had a stream like 4 or 5 chapters ago where Shanks showed up in the Holy Land, where we had a lot of fun memeing on it. I hope we have another meme-tastic chapter soon because like I think those are the most fun to react to. But these kind of chapters, they're just really solid, and there's all I can really do is like bring the speculation and conversation because there's not too much to talk about translation wise or action wise, so all we can really do is speculate. And yeah, it's chill, it's fun, and I'm hoping for another like mind-boggling chapter next week when we've got a break coming up, because that's what Oda likes to do. He likes 2 build-up chapters and then a mind-blowing chapter. So we'll see. So yeah, until next time, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll